Hey, it's Bill from the Bill Simmons podcast. FIFA World Cup 26 fans, listen up. Is the official beer sponsor of the FIFA World Cup 26. Michelob Ultra is giving away $1 million worth of FIFA World Cup 26 tickets and prizes. Enter now at michelobultra.com/superior access/FIFA World Cup 26. Michelob Ultra FIFA World Cup 26 superior access. No purchase necessary. Open U.S. residents 21 plus begins on December 1st, 2025. Ends on July 31st, 2026. Multiple entry periods. Visit www.michelobultra.com/superior access/FIFA World Cup 26 for free entry deadlines, prizes, and details.
Heat up your 4th of July at the Home Depot with our wide variety of grills under $300 and make every gathering one to remember. Give your outdoor space a glow up, whatever your budget is, with savings on seasonal plants starting at $5. With the grill fired up and your backyard set to perfection, you'll be able to invite friends and family over to kick off the party. Start celebrating with low prices guaranteed at the Home Depot. Prices may vary by store. Exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
This episode is brought to you by Google Chrome. You think you know a browser, but Gemini and Chrome? That's new. It can help you with practically anything on the web, like restoring a vintage motorcycle from a 50-page restoration blog, or finally break down that long article you've had open for weeks. Gemini and Chrome is here for it. Ready to make anything online make sense? There's no place like Chrome. Check responses, setup required, compatibility and availability varies, 18+.
Back with another episode of Keeping Current with Kansas City. This is Thad Bell from the KC Soccer Journal. With me, Daniel Sperry from the KC Star, Carrie Robinson from Off to See the Wizards, KC Soccer Journal, and I think places in Europe at this point. She's been everywhere. It has been a while since we recorded because we have been kind of busy with this World Cup thing. The Current have been not doing much, except they did play a game recently. How are you all tonight? Sperry, how you doing?
I'm doing
You
great.
surviving?
I'm surviving. The World Cup has been crazy. I will keep it at that. I don't know how many. This is the first night that I've actually done World Cup like work and made it home before 11 p.m. in like 3 weeks. So that's pretty good.
How about you, Carrie?
World Cup is great. I might be suffering a little bit from being outside in the cold and rain during the Netherlands game, but we're surviving. I'll try not to pull a Sperry and cough into the mic.
Not that he's ever been known to do that. Never. All right. Yeah, I'm surviving. It's been fun, but I kind of came down with a cold thing again today also, Carrie, so it's not your fault. Challenge Cup. How long ago was that? Damn Challenge Cup.
Like 5 days ago, 4 days ago.
It was on Friday, right?
5 days.
Okay, so 5 or 6 days ago, KC Current fell 2-0 to Gotham. What'd you think? Any impressions?
I'm not surprised. I did not pay too close attention to the match. World Cup has mostly been the priority. But it was on in the background, and it was a game it felt like we've seen more so in the last few months of, all right, this team does have faults, we're having issues trying to score, or at least finding the back of the net.
Yeah, it's what, 1 of 5. They're 1-5 or 1-6 on the road this year.
6.
1-6 according to Carrie. Has not been great. Did it look familiar, Daniel?
Yes, but I think more so in the maybe not in the vein of the first 3 road games of the season, but more in the vein of the loss to LA or, like that. That's kind of how I've taken the vibe of that one. I thought they were really good for the first 20 minutes. They were turning Gotham over left and right. They were creating chances. They were not very clinical. They looked rusty when it came to the final pass or the final shot. I know they've had a fair bit of off time in the last 3 weeks, and I just don't know, how much match time they've had. I think it's a good game to kind of test out some some different looks, like you saw with Hopkins up front. But like I said, for the first 20 minutes, I felt it was fine. And then they kind of got into a game where they were just kind of hopelessly sending in some crosses, sending a lot of crosses in, and they got better in at the beginning of the second half. They started putting them on the ground a little bit more because Berger was kind of catching everything in the air near her goal. I just didn't. I'm not like worried about this as being an overall signal of who the Current are. I think this is who we know the Current to be on the road right now, and I thought there were moments in there that I feel good about. I think there are there are questions that I have. They are not like do or die or make or break seasonal type questions. I mean, in the long run, yes, but in terms of like for the next couple of weeks, I think we're okay here, and I think things will eventually even out. They've got some road games here at the start. I'd like to see them at least start off with a result somewhere, but man, I know I've kind of rambled here, so sorry. But the 20 minutes of first 20 minutes of each half, I felt good about, and then they give up a goal. And then after that, they look a little frantic in how they go forward, and it just looked like the same old Current that we've seen at many points throughout the year, excluding those first 3 road games, because I don't think that's indicative of who this team is at all anymore.
Yeah, I always try to throw those 3 road games early in the season that were all in a week span, all on the road, all on turf, with still not having Timois and Cooper healthy, just starting to get them some minutes and all that stuff. I kind of throw those always out. It's just still part of the overall stat, but it's not the worst part of anything there. I don't know. I just thought it is still worrying that when they're not playing in Kansas City, they can't find their groove. In previous years, they were able to find that. Now, granted, Gotham's pretty decent team. But it also wasn't a home game for Gotham. It was at a neutral site in Columbus, home for the first ever professional women's soccer match to be played in the state of Ohio.
I feel like that gets more bland every single time you say it.
I don't know how it can, quite honestly. It's just part of me poking fun at the first ever women's something, something, something. It is in every
It's like
email
Mad
that
Libs,
comes
just
out.
fill in the blank afterwards.
Yeah. Again, I fully support women's soccer breaking barriers and doing things. It's just kind of funny at sometimes. So you don't think this is indicative of, well, you said it is indicative of who they are right now. You just don't think it's a symptom of a larger problem?
Well, I think the goals that they conceded might be a symptom of a larger problem that they've had over the whole of the season. But with some of these roster moves that they've made now, I think there's space to do it and to fix it. And I think that's a better conversation down the road. But I think this is kind of like okay, and I'll take it back here just to like fix what we saw was indicative of who they are in terms of chance creation. I think they still create chances, and I'm fine with it. What we also saw was kind of indicative, and I don't think that'll change unless you're getting rid of Timois, you're getting rid of Croy, or you lose all of those players to like injury right now, okay? And Cooper as well. So you get all those players, that front 4 is there. It's that base of the 6 that is also indicative of who this Current is, the KC Current are. And I think that is something that can change. That is something that can be fixed. I don't know how much of that is an Armas stylistic issue as much as it is a personnel issue. And that's the deeper thing that we can talk about later.
Yeah, that's why I questioned it being not a indicative of who they are for this season, because it's whether or not they can fix that. And even if they do bring in additional help, whether or not Armas can coach that into being the right thing. But that's a whole nother story. So Current lose to Gotham, Current lose to they've only lost a couple times to them in the last couple years, and they've both been major games. Again, not the same roster, not the same thing. One-off game on the road at a neutral site. It's fun, I suppose, but it just isn't that big of a deal to me, the Challenge Cup at this point.
Yeah,
more important.
No, I don't really care about the Challenge Cup. Great warm up, get it over with, play the game. I think honestly, in the larger scheme of things, I think the NWSL playing games this weekend, even next weekend, is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Especially scheduling games for host cities on the same day that knockout games exist, where all the media who actually cover the team are probably going to be paying attention to the World Cup knockout game in their city. And I know that there are people at the Current that aren't happy with that too. So there are some things here that don't fully make sense about the scheduling. And especially playing the Challenge Cup when they did. I'll say it's probably the only time that Columbus venue is going to be easily open for them to go use, because MLS doesn't get back until the 16th. And I don't know that the team that was training in Columbus is training there anymore either. So
No.
it's just all those. It's a big picture thing that I don't know that the Challenge Cup matters anymore in the way in what it's been reduced to. It's a nice little one-off, but
I think it is a better season opener for
Yeah.
sure.
yes,
Get them hyped up for whatever, but when it gets put into a middle of a season like this, what is the point?
Yeah.
It is, we could, if we want to say that it means something, it is a fake preseason for the second half of this season, but that's about what it boils down to.
Yeah, but it's not going to be every year that they're going to have so many weeks off. Well, probably next year with the Women's World Cup, but then after that, they're probably not going to take this break for the Men's World Cup in the future, unless it's in the United States. So it seems like there's a better plan that can be had. And for me to say that about the NWSL seems to be utterly shocking because they would never be lacking in planning or foresight. But that's okay.
foresight. Yeah.
But NWSL is back to play this weekend.
Mhm.
Current are on the road. I know Sperry and I will both be at the Kansas City Stadium, formerly known as Arrowhead, and will once again to watch Colombia, Ghana,
Mhm.
and cover that. So I don't know who will be on the post game calls for that, but that's their problem and the NWSL's poor decision making. I mean, excellent decision making. But they played Denver the first time that they will be at Denver, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
What do we foresee? Denver's in 9th place, 15 points after 11 matches.
I don't foresee it being I think it's winnable. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be very boring throughout most of it.
How about you,
I
Daniel?
I tend to agree. Col- Denver, Colorado, whatever. I'm so used to the other Denver soccer team being Colorado.
Denver Summits.
Denver Summit does not really play the most exciting brand of soccer. They, but at the same time, I think this is a really interesting test. It's the first time the Current have really had to deal with altitude. I would assume that the CONCACAF Champions League, in some way, shape, or form, is going to be existing this fall, and so the Current, if they have to go on the road and play in Mexico during the group stage, or El Salvador or Honduras, like something like that, like they might have to end up playing at altitude. And so I think these are good. It's a good different test. The Summit will do their best to kind of grind the game to a halt through the midfield and try and beat you over the top. They do have some decent playmakers on that squad, but um, this is not a Gotham type team, and it's not even an Angel City type team in terms of the playmakers that they had. They were playing them just a couple of weeks ago, so I think, like Carrie said, this is a winnable game. If the Current come out of there with a draw to start the season and you feel good about the performance, I feel great about that. Ultimately, it matters what you're doing, as we have seen. It does not matter whether you win every single game in the regular season. It matters what you're doing when at the time of the year when it counts the most. And if they can kind of start making some progress in areas that they'll need to be good at, this is one of them. So get their point on the road and feel good about it. I can guarantee you the Current are happy that that game in the Challenge Cup was their run out and not a league match that actually counts for something.
True.
Like this game coming up.
Isn't Denver getting some reinforcements shortly?
Lindsey Horan, but the transfer window is not open yet. The transfer window for the NWSL opens the same time as the men's transfer window for July 14th, so Horan will not be available.
Heaps.
Sorry. Oh my gosh.
No, I also just did that. I texted someone and I said, "Has Heap started training yet?" And then you answered or has Haran started training? Then you answer the question, and then I said, "Hate to talk Heaps to damper this wonderful
I am
U.S.
so
men's national
sorry.
team night."
I am so sorry, everybody. Normally,
No.
I'm pretty good about getting the married names. That one,
Yeah, you are. You're better at it than I am, and
That
I'm
one
not even
slipped
trying to
me.
give you crap. It was just the
I know. Thank you for correcting me because I'm going to sound. All I can see is the comment section whenever this is posted. Like that dumb guy doesn't know anything about women's soccer. He called her Lindsey Horan.
It's true you don't.
I don't.
yeah, and it's. I can guarantee you do at least know a wee bit about women's soccer, but I'm bad about calling people by certain names. I've been historically bad about it on certain names. And sometimes when the married names change, it takes me a little while to catch up. And it's not because of a lack of respect. It's just because my brain doesn't change pathways as easily as it used to. But I've just heard Lindsay Heaps so often and stuff. That's why it sticks in there. I still mentally think of her as Haran a lot of times also. All right. Any predictions for this game? You said it was going to be kind of probably boring, but a
Yeah,
loss. I mean, a win for the Current.
I'm gonna say 1-0 the Current. I'm not confident on that. It's gonna be
Is it just based on?
1-0.
Is it just based on vibes, or is there like?
No, it really is kind of based on it's
I'm fine with that.
it's the vibe that I hope that we can win, and I still have hope.
Would you say that you believe that you will win?
I believe that we could win.
How about you, Daniel? What is the prediction?
I'm gonna say 1-1.
Ooh,
I don't believe they will win. I believe they could win, but I'll say 1-1.
man, I was going to be the optimistic one and say a 2-1 win.
Look at
He
that.
believes.
The He
Yeah.
Believes Cup. It's this game. It's just this game.
The Thad
The
believes cup.
The Thad Believes Cup. Denver Summit versus KC Current.
A 1-1 draw probably is more realistic just because that's when expansion teams have to try to play tight defense. But just going back through some of their scores, I mean, Utah beat them 2-1. Of course, that was in Utah.
I really wanted to say 0-0, but I think there will be a goal. She believes in a goal.
Denver beat Orlando 3-1 in Denver. Commerce City.
That's where we're playing. Commerce City. We should also mention that where have they usually been playing their games at?
Commerce City.
Oh, have they? Then why was there?
They played their one game at I call it Invesco Field, but whatever it is, the sports
Empower Field
at Mile High. Yeah.
Okay, I thought we were playing them more often because there was a whole the Current's match has been moved to Dick's Sporting Goods Stadium.
It's because they were originally planning to have a Carolina style pop-up stadium built, or Phoenix Rising style pop-up stadium built. That has not happened.
Gotcha.
Or not been finalized. So they're now playing their games at DSG.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the most serious possible question for this first half of the pod, will Armas have flashbacks?
100%. You think he's gonna accidentally try to go to the wrong locker room?
No, but will he make a joke about accidentally going to the wrong locker room when asked about it? I'm smashing the over on that. Yes.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with a no, but I'm gonna say that he's gonna have some other joke about
Okay.
walking somewhere else.
I have to say, I think Daniel's right that he will have a joke about going to the wrong place, whether it's the locker room or an office or something. But I don't think he will because I think there will be armed security guards that keep him out. All right. Anything more to say about the Challenge Cup or this upcoming match in Denver? I mean, I know we're not being super analytical because we're kind of out of the right form. We're not back in full season form, I think. But any other thoughts? Okay. We will be right back after this very long, extensive break. And we're back. What do we have in the second half? We have free agency news. We have stadium enlargement. Is there anything else? Oh, wait. We didn't talk about Sentner trade.
We have not.
That's probably the biggest news of all of that. Allie Sentner was traded for, was it $800 and some odd thousand? I forget the exact amount. She was announced signing a week or two later a contract extension, which was the only way it would have made any sense for any team to trade for her, since they could have gotten her on a free in a couple months. Well, a few months. So, Carrie, what do you think of that move by the Current?
I am surprised, but not shocked. I mean, I think it was probably obvious that there was a point in like the business side that she didn't want a new contract or sign again when she had free agency coming up. And so the Current are like, all right, let's try to figure out where she probably wants to go, and can we make a deal with them to get enough money to break even, which is basically what it came down to after when you take into account of what we paid Utah for her, plus the 20% sell on that Utah had in their clause. So we really did break even. We might have gotten like pennies or something like that, which is fine.
The Current might have get a couple $10,000s, but
Yeah.
yes, in all grand terms, it was not
It was not a lot.
sell for big profit.
Yeah. I think the part that does surprise me is that she was only here for less than a year. She came in July, left in June. And so with that, I just don't know if that's because she felt like she didn't want to be in Kansas City, or if we had one plan for her and then that went out the window in the off season or whatever.
Daniel, thoughts on the trade?
So this is where you speak. It's a podcast.
What? I don't just get to pantomime. I think it's the right move for the Current. I don't know. She didn't really show a place where she fit in last year, and she wasn't really fully fitting in this year. And ultimately, when you're a striker, you need regular production. And she was not giving regular production. And like, especially at the price that probably comes with her. Not I would assume that her rookie contract was relatively decent from Utah, because sure, they could draft her, but she could go and play overseas if she wanted to. She doesn't have to sign the contract with them right away. So, and the draft was not, you get drafted even if you're the first overall pick. You don't get a guaranteed contract. That was one of the reasons why they abolished the draft. So I think she comes here thinking she's going to learn from Vlatko and learn under Vlatko. That no longer happens. It's Chris Armas. I think her quote unquote bestie gets traded or asks to be traded. However, that all very likely went down. And I think, I think the writing was on the wall. I don't think the style of, they needed someone who could hold up the ball, and I didn't think she was really doing that in a way that was productive for the Current. The Current have looked all season long better with a more bigger central focal point to play into, like a Haley Hopkins, who seems comfortable playing with her back into the goal. Why the Current were excellent last year and the year before that with Bia Zanerato on the field, was because they had the big physical striker that they could put the ball into. And Sentnor just isn't that. And she's also not a 10 in the way that Dabinia or Croy Bethune can be. She's not shown the ability to play the final pass. And so on the technical and tactical side of it, it makes sense. And if she's coming up on a contract extension, she's a U.S. Women's National Team player. She, has a kind of, she's up there. She's won a Young Player of the Year award. I'm sure she's rated somewhere within those rankings that seem to matter for the NWSL when it comes to certain contracts. And I don't think the Current were willing to offer maybe what other teams were to get her there. And I think the Current found a landing spot that worked for her, that would give her a long-term contract that she probably wants and probably fairly demands for the profile of the player that she is. And, I'm sure Angel City is, you know, hoping that with their investment and not just her, but also in the transfer fee that they've sent away, um, that kind of helps, she brings a pretty big impact to their team. So I am I'm interested to see how it plays out. They fire their coach, they get rid of Kennedy Fuller inexplicably for as she didn't really get along with the head coach, and she was arguably their best player every single time she sat on the field. So you fire their head coach and you trade away the player that now should have free reign um, under that. Now that coach is gone, it didn't quite make sense to me, but I'm interested to see what else happens over there. But I think it's a good spot for her to kind of have a fresh start and be in a place that clearly sees her as part of what's happening moving forward. And I don't know that she was any longer part of that vision for the Current.
If that is saying if Angel City doesn't Angel City this.
Oh, they probably will.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of good at that. But I do wish Allie well, because I don't think she ever got what she expected here, and I don't think the Current did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say didn't do right by her, but didn't do as well for her as they could have or should have. I do feel like last year was supposed to be her come in, be the extra talent as needed, and then this year kind of take over a role, more consistent role. But then things just went all astray. Like you said, Vako steps away. Her best friend one of her besties is traded or allowed to go. Armis is brought in. They bring in Croy, and now you have 3 10-ish type players, because Allie can be that 9 or 10, and she can be a winger. She can play a lot of different spots, and for the national team, she does really well. Was one of the leading scorers over 25 and 26, I think, for the U.S. national team. She can score. She can do it from the 9 spot. She can do it from a 10 spot. She can do it from a wing spot. I don't know if I really need to say spot all 3 of those times. But anyway, she could do it from those multiple positions. But we heard earlier this year that Armis said that he wanted Croy and Allie basically playing right on top of each other. I thought that was crazy. And if they are 2 players that are in the right spot and have known each other for long enough, and they're your 2 forwards, that might make more sense if you're playing like a 3-5-2. But they weren't. And now you got those 2 like overlapping each other and sometimes getting in each other's way. It just didn't make much sense.
And same with Dabinia too.
Yes.
With all 3 of them in there, it was just space overload.
Right.
And it just didn't quite work. I agree with you that I think I do wish her well, because she's a very, very nice person, very nice
Yes.
player. She's a great interview, always willing to chat and be honest about her assessment of everything. Some players talk and kind of give PR-ish answers. Sometimes players don't want to talk at all. She always seemed to be willing to take the stand after a loss. And she was very honest in her assessment of things. And I think, like you said, I just don't, the situation never turned into what everyone thought it might be.
Yeah. Which is a shame, because I know a lot of people criticize her, a lot of fans do, because she hasn't produced here or this or whatever. I'm a big fan of Allie, and I would like to see her having Would like to have seen her get a better chance here.
So good, so good, so good.
New summer arrivals are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Get ready to save big with up to 60% off brands like Rag & Bone, Levi's, Adidas, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
Are all batteries the same? That's like asking if all soccer players are the same. Take Messi, the most decorated player ever. Is there any other player who has achieved that? No, just him. Now take Duracell. Is there any other battery with power boost ingredients inside? No, just Duracell. Remember, goats only trust goats because they're built different. And Messi only trusts Duracell.
Uncovered windows can make your home feel up to 20 degrees hotter. Stay cool and save up to 50% off custom window treatments during the 4th of July mega sale at Blinds.com. From outdoor shades to room darkening blinds, finding the perfect fit is easy. Get free samples, expert design help, and professional measure and install services. Or DIY with confidence and support every step of the way. Shop up to 50% off site-wide, plus huge savings on doorbusters right now during the 4th of July mega sale at Blinds.com.
In the right situation. I don't know if she's going to get that in Angel City. But the one other thing I think that you can very clearly tell, because her contract was ending at the end of this year, and any team could have just waited or could have just signed her to a pre-contract and got her next year. So that means that there was more than one. To me, that tells me that more than one team wanted her this year, because otherwise Angel City could have signed her to a pre-contract, brought her in next year, had a new coach and all those other things in place, and probably done a lot better, been better off. So there had to be at least 2 or 3 other teams wanting her this year, and that's what drove the price up to what it was, because otherwise they wouldn't have had to pay it.
Correct. And also, too, I think Angel City's situation, in their heads, they know they're trading Kennedy Fuller. I bet the secret was pretty much out what was happening at that point, because that trade got announced right as, like in the hours before the Sentnor deal gets announced.
Right.
And of course, Jeff Kassouf broke it. I had heard about it a couple hours before and was allowed to finally get things out on it. And I think, at least before Jeff reported it. But I think it's one of those that I knew about the deal pretty close in the aftermath of everything getting announced by Angel City.
Yeah.
When it came to Strauss and Kennedy Fuller. And so that is very much the current are kind of like, hey, we know your situation. And I know there are some people in the KC current front office that are very good friends with the people in the Angel City FC front office. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was very much a friendly, we know you need this, you're going to have to pay up for it now. And you're going to have to outbid somebody else.
Yeah. And I think that was the key factor there, is they had to outbid somebody else who was wanting her as well, which just goes to prove that she's a wanted commodity.
And maybe she'll bring the type of impact in Angel City in the same way that, maybe Claire Hutton has for Bay FC.
Well, I think Bay still has a lot of problems to deal with, but that is a growing organization as well. All right. Anything else about Allie's trade? You're going to have to explain to me later why you were cracking up on that. All right. We can talk free agency. We can talk stadium expansion. Free agency.
Let's do that one.
Free agency?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or else the stadium's going to be a short segment, and then, yeah.
True. All right. The current and NWSL released a lot of information today. It's being Wednesday. It is still Wednesday. Right. Yes, it is still Wednesday. The current have free agents. Pulling up the list here. Vanessa DiBernardo, Bailey Feist, Claire Gagne, Flora Marta Lacho. Forgot she was even on the roster technically. Rocky Rodriguez, Kolo Suliafu, and Elizabeth Ball and Dabinia.
Flora Marta Lacho is interesting because, like, the Current said they were extending her loan to HB Kogue, but then HB Kogue said, "Thank you, Marta," like, made, like, a goodbye post. So
I need to go ask some questions to some people because I'm not sure what's going on with that one. And the I can't remember her name, but the player that was technically signed by the Current but on loan to a team in China for 2 years, like an 18-year-old
yeah.
Mhm.
Frida.
Frida
Yeah, I can't
Dude,
remember her name.
I don't remember. Holy cow.
But she never shows up on anything. But every time I've asked about her, yeah, she's on loan, but she's never showed up on anything on this side.
Frida Mukoma.
Yeah,
Yeah. I had to think about what nationality she was
and what nationality is she?
to look her up. She's Zambian.
Zambian.
Yes,
Because they're calling her the second Banda,
yeah,
or the future Banda.
and she's like 19 now, maybe. But
Yep, 19.
because she was somehow signed and on loan, and the
Yes.
Current acknowledged that, but then never published it. So still don't know why. Any of these free agents surprise you? They did say that they're trying to still negotiate with Dabinia and Ball.
Yeah. I would say that Vanessa DiMarano and cut this. Vanessa DiBernardo and Rocky, their contracts have been declined by the club.
Right.
I think it's interesting I understand Rockies. It's probably we understand that this midfield is getting older. We cannot bring, we were kind of surprised that Rocky was coming back this season because of the age of the midfield. DiBernardo's interesting because we have not heard anything about her maternity leave and, her being in training or anything like that.
Right.
And so it's one of those things. Are we waiting for? Because I'm pretty sure that we had a situation with Ball and Hamilton a few seasons ago where they got declined, but they were still in the negotiations, even though their options were declined. And so I'm curious to know if this is something that it's either DiBernardo is stepping away from soccer, or if it is we are waiting to see how she can perform at this level still.
I thought I had heard that Vanessa was back in at least a limited amount of training
Okay.
at one point, but I have not been able to be there in person to see training enough in the last month and a half to see if that was the case. But I hopefully will be there 12 hours from now or less. So we will see. How about you, Daniel? Is any surprises?
No. I do think it's interesting that they didn't that they are trying to get a different contract for Dabinia. I would imagine that option is pretty high price, and I don't know if it's something that they can keep paying for a player who has now missed like half a season's worth of injury with half a season's worth of time
Yeah.
due to injury in the last 3 years. I know she was questionable for the Challenge Cup. She might be back in even off the bench this week, but in reality, you're probably not looking at like a even 60-minute fit Deb until for another 2-3 weeks. She already missed 5 games in May. So, that's a large chunk of time for a player that probably contract wise demands a pretty significant chunk of money.
Right.
And, she's going to be 35, 36, I think. And I'm cool with them trying to fix that contract up a little bit. I think E-Ball's been really good, and I don't know what her option is, but I'd love to see them make sure that she sticks around. I just think she's a savvy veteran defender that is just consistent, whatever the level at her level, and her level is significantly above average. And I have been just thoroughly impressed with every single moment that she's had to step in over the last 4 or 5 years. And so, yeah, E-Ball for me is someone that's that you've got to find a way to keep that contract going. And so I'm glad it's those two. Bailey, I think if the Current we talk about free agency. I'd love to see the current with Temwa going to HIP and Ali Sentnor's contract off the books. I'd love to see the current go out and get a good, like, international level tier number 6 again. Like, I know we can say here and say, oh, well, you had one, but you traded her away. Like, dude, I'm sorry. Reality is what it is now. That is what the team needs. And that was kind of what I was mentioning beforehand. Some of the issues with the midfield, they need to go out and address the midfield. To me, it's clear Bailey Feist doesn't answer all those questions, although I like her as a consistent fill-in, a consistent 30 minutes, a spot start here and there. You feel good with it, but I don't know that she's totally showed yet this year that she can be your number one option every single game. And she'll have a stretch where she has a couple of really good games, and then she has, a couple of bad games, and it's just like, or inconsistent games. I would just like to see the consistency, and I think raising the profile of player that you have there, you have the roster space to do it, and I don't think Bailey Feist is that answer. So I'm fine with them potentially moving on from her, because I think she can help either an expansion team or one of the expansion teams that needs to do something in terms of capturing the hearts and minds of people that support that club, aka a Bay FC or a Utah or any of the 2 expansion teams from this year. She is a useful asset in those teams, because I think she's a solid player with solid experience. But if you're the current and you're trying to win titles, you got to upgrade the 6. And I think these kind of decisions show that they really know that they need to go get that.
Yeah, I mean, and we can always go back and say, yes, it was a huge mistake to trade Claire or create the situation that she wanted to leave. But it did become clear that she is missed and that they didn't have the depth to do that. We said this earlier on, that we didn't think that Lowe and Rocky were the answers, just because of the age, that they couldn't play 90 minutes, 90% of the games is what you want in that situation. Feist is a great fill-in, and we liked her, and we wanted her to get the chance because we thought she was the better option than, say, like Lowe and Feist versus Lowe and Rocky. But it still is not, we never thought she was the best option. I mean, she wasn't the best option a team that this quality should have.
Yeah. I also think too, looking at it and
Croy was not that option either.
No, not as a 6. Looking at this though from like a removed, like 100-foot lens, basically, or a 1,000-foot view of this roster setup. This season they've remade the depth. The season before that they remade the back line. They've got the attack locked down for the next few years with Croy, with Coop, with Temwa. You're good. You can plug in a large striker that likes to play with their back to the goal and can finish occasionally. Great, you're going to do fine. This is setting up a midfield rebuild, because honestly, the way it's looking right now, with Vanessa option being declined, Bailey Feist on the way out, Rocky Rodriguez on the way out, Lowe might be, like, if they don't add to the midfield in this window, Lowe will be the only midfielder going onto the roster.
That's fine.
At the next year. And that's fine. But that's what I'm saying. That's what this window and this next off season is kind of shaping up to be, is a midfield rebuild.
They might just need to get all the lines at one time if they want to be good.
But that you can't do that in a salary cap league. You got to pick and choose.
They kind of had all the lines last year, but that's another story. All right. Anything else about the salary cap, or not the salary cap, but the free agent list? I mean, we can probably look and see what other free agents are out there, but not right now. We can do that in a future segment. Fair?
Fair.
Expansion of the stadium.
They want to do it. Seems like they're going to get to.
And they have pictures of it.
Yeah. Interesting pictures. Good. There's a lot more lanes of traffic out front of that stadium in that photo than there is in real life, or ever will be in real life, which is funny.
Yeah, I know. I laughed at that too. Although maybe there will be more because they actually are building a parking garage.
That's what it shows.
Yeah. I have not seen the actual plans yet, or anything other than the renderings that other people have posted. I do want to try to ask them about those in the near future. Do they need that extra 6,500 right now? I know they've consistently sold out at 11,500, but there's a lot of those 11,500 games that did not look 100% full. And I know that's tickets sold versus seats. I don't know what their waiting list is for tickets.
Yeah, and it feels a little less I mean, you had people complaining or not complaining, but, like, they were saying that first 2 seasons, they were like, "Oh, I can't it's so hard to get tickets to the current game."
Right.
You're hearing that a lot less now. Actually, I'm not hearing it at all now.
Yeah.
But
It's hard to
I
get tickets for a reasonable price.
That's
I'll say
fair.
that.
That's fair. With this extra 6,500, like, I hope there's less, which there should be with the Switch. There's less sporting and current games happening simultaneously,
Yeah.
or else that's not getting filled.
That would require them to work those problems out in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they also have a schedule switch, so I just
True.
backtracked all my thoughts that I just said out loud.
Yeah, MLS will have the schedule switch, but there'll still be a number of games that will be in the same time windows.
For
Because
sure.
they'll be off for a couple months in the summer, but other than that, it'll be pretty much overlapping again.
Yeah. I think I don't love this idea in the way that it has been put forth as, oh, we also want our big real estate and business development to be part of this package where we expand the stadium. And I know that they're on the hook for any defaults back in payments that they're supposed to make. That was covered in my colleagues in the Star. I think the Star's coverage of it, I have not been fully involved in it, but it has been very good and comprehensive in showing the whole thing. And I do think it is, and I've seen this frustration too, that this is kind of the way that they've done this, is wrapping in a way for them to make more money, and not just on the soccer, but they're
Right.
utilizing their fandom and popularity amongst the fans to justify getting public money, taxpayer money, to spend to make more money off of said taxpayers than they already are.
Right.
And I think what I say two things to that. Welcome to sports ownership, and what sports owners and millionaires and billionaires do. Two, I don't think I think I'm sure it is starting to, if it hasn't already, change the way the fan base views the ownership of the Current. And I don't know that that's a good or a bad thing, because I'll be honest, I think that this is consistently like who millionaires, billionaires, and big team sports investors are. This is what they want to do. Are projects like this. And I hear the frustrations about it, but this also like doesn't surprise me. And I don't mean that it's consistent with who they are in a bad way necessarily, but like I don't expect anything less out of sports owners, right? And this is just kind of it's par for the course
Yeah, I don't disagree.
with
I
American
mean,
sports ownership. I say that with American sports ownership, it's par for the course. Okay, sorry.
I think it's pretty much across the board at this point, across a lot of countries, especially with leagues that I follow, and the money that is spent on those things. Although I know there are some good exceptions, or some bad exceptions actually.
Some
I
much worse
have
exceptions.
I have often joked that, the Current has turned into a real estate project with a sports team as a sideline entertainment venue, and that's kind of the way it feels. I mean, between that, all the building they're doing down by the river, the concert venue near the training center, all these other things, right? I don't begrudge people making money. I just like to be kind of more honest about it. So, It's great to have a team. It's great to have a team that's interested in winning and doing everything that they should to win. I don't always agree with how they go about that, and there's valid disagreements that can be had about those things, whether you should or should not sign a player or trade a player. Nobody has the perfect formula to do that, especially billionaires, no matter how smart they are about making money. But again, they want to make money. That's fine. I just like to be honest about it. I'm not saying they're not being honest about it, but they aren't always saying, hey, we're here to make money.
Right.
But in fairness, they did say they wanted the team to be profitable. And that's why they needed to build a stadium so they could have the rights and the marketing and the ads and all of that other stuff that goes with it. And that is part of making a league successful. If you want to have a successful women's soccer league,
And
is
sustainable. It's
Right.
profitability.
It's not a charity. You have to make it something that's not a charity and not a something that people are just going to invest in because it's the right thing to do. The people want to invest in it because it's the money making thing to do, and then it becomes sustainable. Because otherwise, it's just people will get tired of it throwing away money at some point and stop doing it, and then teams fold, leagues go away. MLS had to go through that. MLS has to be profitable. NWSL has to be profitable, et cetera, et cetera. All right, enough soapboxing. Anything else we need to discuss today before we move on? Because we're only doing this a couple days before the actual game on Friday that none of us will actually be watching live. We'll be checking scores, I know. But other than that,
I have a window pulled up.
I can't do that from where I'll be sitting. So you can send me a picture of anything that happens.
I'll keep sending you a text updates.
I think FootMob takes care of that for me.
You know, side note, sorry, World Cup. It is so funny how many times I am at the game and I literally pull out my phone.
Yeah.
I am so conditioned to like checking FOTMob for
Oh,
it.
I have done
And
that
it
at
is
current games.
so bad. It is so, I do it at Sporting. I do it at current occasionally. Usually I don't have my phone out and I just have my laptop rolling. But because we've been kind of taking pictures and stuff like that from the stands or from our seats, I have been very much like, oh, the score. What's the score? Oh, wait, I'm here. It's
No,
zero.
yeah.
I will get the update before FOTMob has it.
No, and that's how I am too. Like I look at my watch, I'm like, oh, I'm surprised there's not a goal yet. I'm like, wait, I'm watching it in real life.
Yep. And when we went to the Argentina game, my daughter made the same comment, was that she needs to turn off the notifications on her phone so she doesn't hear about it before she sees it. And I'm like,
it's not going to work that way. Whew. Guys, get off the phones. Go touch grass. Meet people.
It is
enjoy sharing soccer experiences together.
And that was for me, it was really awesome to do it as a fan. First time in a long time that I got to go as a fan, and it took me like half a game before I could cheer, like just go yay, kind of thing, because we're so conditioned to not do that. And I think this is a topic we should have on the Shades of Blue at one point, though. Bring you over for that, because we see media from other countries that have no qualms about cheering and obviously supporting a team. And it's hard for us sometimes because we want to cheer for teams that we follow or we cover. And I will, very lightly clap or something like on my leg when something's going on, like, like yay, but can't just say, yay, great goal. All right. Valid conversation we should have somewhere else.
It's okay to be a homer about your national team. I'll say that.
Not while you're covering them.
Correct. In the sense of decorum.
Yes. Press box, jumping up and cheering.
Yeah. Great. Have your etiquette.
Yes. I root for the national team, men's, women's. I root for Sporting. I root for the Current. I root for the Comets, SKC 2, Current 2. But we should not, according to U.S. standards, outwardly cheer for it when it happens.
Correct.
All right. Anything else? KC Current, women's national team, anything? Going once, going twice, gone. Thank you both for joining. It's been too long since we got together as the three of us, and we are out.